Well, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Emma Logue, who will be doing the senior valediction.
Hi. They didn't tell me there's going to be this many people. I'm Emma Logue. I'm graduating from Bowie High School this year, hopefully. And Trent asked me to do the graduation speech. And I was like, yeah, sure, a couple thousand people, not a big deal. And I asked him, so what do you want me to talk about? And he's like, oh, no, whatever the Lord puts on your heart, whatever he wants you to talk about. I was like, okay, so what do you want me to talk about? So I'm going to talk about something that the Lord's been working into my life these past couple of months. And I pray that you would benefit from it somehow. And if you don't, I pray that you would just benefit from seeing someone that's just trying to know Jesus. Through each year of my high school career, I had to persevere through some way. Whether it be making new friends or just fitting in and trying new things, or maybe it was to persevere to do well in whatever activity I was involved in or my classes. Doubtful. The most significant change, though, was in my senior year when I started persevering in Jesus rather than just with him. My persevering had turned from just using God to get what I want, but rather persevering in knowing him to find out what he wants of me. I realized my viewpoint had started to change when I was having a conversation with a friend last summer. He had asked, he's like, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, well, you know what? I think I just want to help people. You know, like go on mission trips and help and maybe work with you someday, you know? And he paused and he looked at me. He's like, oh, you're into that sort of stuff? I was like, yeah, I guess I am. And, you know, my answer even surprised me. That was so far out. What had been happening in my life up to that point is, hold on. I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. Whatever I was doing, whatever I wasn't doing, wasn't helping me or anyone else. The things I had been doing were for self-gratification and not for the benefit of others. And I realized how shallow that made my life. I knew I wasn't getting anywhere fast with what I was doing, and this desperate situation was in such need of repair. Even though I'd been walking with God for some time now, I was at a stalemate, and this proved that I needed to take ownership of my own faith. I needed to claim my Jesus and seek him above all else. This year has been the hardest by far. But it's definitely been the best. It was hard because I had to do a lot of things that weren't exactly normal, or a cool way, if you would. A lot of times I was put down, mocked, etc., for doing things that didn't really advance my place in life. An example is I felt called to go to Bible college next year. And this caused an uproar among so many people because it's not a real college. What are you going to do? What are you going to do at Bible college? What are you doing? And, okay. And then another example is I'm going to Sudan this summer on a missions trip. And I received a lot of negative feedback as to why I would go to such a dangerous country and why I would risk my well-being for that. These things aren't exactly society's norms, nor are they comfortable. But neither is abandoning your rightful place as prince in Pharaoh's house and fleeing to the desert because God called you to be with your people. Pharaoh's house, the desert. Pharaoh's house, the desert. I don't know. But Moses did it because according to Hebrews 11:25 and 26, he thought that by choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, and esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the pleasures of Egypt. Moses thought it was better to persevere in Christ than the treasures of Egypt. It's hard for us to do the same as Moses, to do what God has called us to do. We would rather be comfortable even if it is stagnant. It's interesting because we have something that Moses didn't have, which should make it so much easier to persevere. We have a promise. We have a promise that one day we are promised an eternity with heaven in Jesus, and that will be better, so much better than all these so-called comfortable things. All of those people in the Old Testament, all of those people that did anything for the name of God, those people that were willing to give up their firstborn sons, those people that did set their baby boy down in a stream in a basket, the people that had to build a huge boat, get some animals in their family in the middle of a drought, the people that served God even at the face of death and did it for his glory because it was enough. His glory was enough. They counted God worthy to be afflicted, abused, tortured, and the least of all, stressed for him. And they didn't even receive the guarantee that one day they will see his shining face and they will be by his side, and that'll be all good. We have that. We do have that promise, and that makes all of our afflictions seemingly fruitless and unbearing sometimes worthwhile. This is something that, along with my peers and friends, have learned these past few years. Not only did most of us try to persevere in Jesus, but we also had to persevere in some other things before we realized that there was only one thing and one person we can actually place our fragile hope in. Of course, I didn't come to this realization on my own. After a series of prayerful teachings and honest affection being shown continually, and probably many hours of prayer dedicated to my class and whole high school body, Trent, Shaq, and Jennifer, and the many small group leaders have been inspiration and guides in my Christian life. Their continual support and encouragement of my spiritual growth have affected me in so many ways and helped me persevere in Jesus. And also those road trips and shopping cart races and ridiculous gifts helped me coming back and love Jesus more. I am so thankful that God has put these strong, dedicated leaders in the high school group who are so sensitive to his calling. And I am truly blessed to have been under their guidance. Thanks.